Right, once again, good morning everybody. I found myself in the West Country again this morning, just for a quick stop, and alarm was set for 3:30 this morning, and I got myself down to the coast very quickly to hopefully witness a glorious sunrise, which we've got some bits and pieces going off over here now. So sit back for the next 15 minutes and put your YouTube slippers on and have a look at some images like this. Okay, well, I've got my first composition lined up, and what we're doing is a few minutes away from the sun coming up, and we're going to be doing a bracketed image. Obviously we've got on here, we've got lots of nice stones and stuff here with the water lapping over, leading out to the sun, which is just coming up over here. We've got some of these sea stacks going on just over to the left of the image, but they're just encroaching on the side of the image that we've got there. So what we're going to do is we're going to expose for the sky, get all that beautiful colour, and then expose for the foreground and combine the two in a closer shot, and hopefully that should give us a lovely, beautiful image. Okay, so what we've got here is I saw this little scene. What I liked about this scene was the difference and the way the light is playing off this almost slate-like material, playing off all the different faces and giving it quite a nice sort of in-depth pattern along here. And then if you come down to the seaweed and stuff that's hanging there, there was quite a nice sort of different quite a nice contrast between the two colours. I got the camera set up at f.8, and it gives me a shutter speed of 25 seconds, which seems quite a lot, but it is deceivingly dark here actually. The sun's just about to come up over there, but it's not really showing up too well on this camera. But yeah, the composition is basically we're going to sort of focus from the front and do 3 photographs just there, focusing on each area just to give us a nice sharp picture right the way through. And yeah, I quite liked the way I think a lot of it was the way the light was playing off it really. Yeah, well, I think what I'll do is I'm going to move on just around the coast a little bit there, and see if we can get any compositions. There is a composition that I am after. There's a composition that I know there is around, but I'm not quite sure whether it's to the left or to the right. So I'm going to head back up to the coast path now and head back over and see if we can find it. I need to find locations where there aren't quite so many stairs or hills. Flat is always good. Okay, well I've just come round the corner from where I was this morning for sunrise to a place called Thatcher Rock, which those locally will know it quite well. It's quite a local landmark. I've never ever photographed it, but there's a nice little headland overlooking basically Tor Bay, and you can look Tor Bay all the way over there. You've got Brixham, and then you come round, you've got Paynton and Torquay and Meadfoot. just here. So while the sun's quite low, I'm hoping I can make use of this dynamic light, because it's coming in, the sun is still very low to my left, and so we've got making a feature of the rock itself. It's basically, as you can see, half lit on one side. With the wide angle, it looks a long way away with a 24mm lens, but what I might do is just try and use some of this foliage, and that has a point. As you can see, it's quite far away on that thing, so what I'm going to do is swap over shortly to the 100 to 400 and bring that rock a little bit closer. I'm after basically a long exposure. I'd like to get a long exposure if I can, and yeah, that's where we go. Well, I think that's going to be about it for today. The sun's climbing quite high now, so it's getting a bit harsh. There's not a lot of clouds in the sky either, but it's been nice to have this beautiful headland to myself this morning. I think it's getting on for about 7:30 now, so I want to head back and grab some breakfast, I think, and a cup of coffee, and maybe get out there this afternoon. Might pop up onto the moors possibly, or I might head on round the coast and maybe get some evening shots, in which case I'll include them later on the video. Other than that, if you've liked the video and the images that you've seen today, if you do the old like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. But hopefully see you in a minute. If not, I'll see you next time. Well, I couldn't help myself after this morning's little adventure down on the coast, and knowing that I'm going home in the early hours of tomorrow, I thought I'd make a bit more of a day of it, and I've come up to Dartmoor. Now I've come up and just have a look around, just basically explore a few other places that I haven't really been to, and I just came across this little, I don't know what it is, sort of copse of burnt shrubs, thorn bushes, is that what you would call them? And if you have a look at all these, how they're all charcoaled up and dead. I mean, the grass is all okay, but just the bushes have been burnt right the way around, and I just like the way the charcoal contrasts and the shape of everything. Just looks nice. And what I've picked out is just basically this little composition down here with all the gnarly roots and the branches, sorry, going off in all directions. So I think we'll frame up a image and see how we go. Okay, so what I've done is I've framed up this trunk so it goes out like a hand. Now there's not a great deal going on in the background of the image, obviously a lot of green grass and nothing much of interest, but so what I thought I'd do is open up the aperture to f2.8, which will allow obviously everything in the foreground where I focus, because I'm going to focus right on the heel of the trunk, and then everything else should soften off into the distance. Now what I might do is, just to give me some options later on, is just do a focus stack as we normally do, but with the option that we might use it if we want that extra bit of depth, and then the runoff. So that's what I'm planning on doing. So yes, we'll see how that one goes. We've got 1/160th of a second at f2.8 and ISO is 64. I've got it mounted on a tripod, so yeah, because of that I did try to take one freehand just now, or handheld, but I just wanted that sort of extra flexibility when I get back in post. So we'll take that one up and we'll pop that one up for you now. Well, I've actually come to some woodland which I have photographed before under a lot different conditions. It was foggy, or misty at least, and I think it was autumn because all the leaves were red on the ground. But we're in June now, so it's different. So I thought as I was passing by, just poke my nose in and see how things have changed. So I'm going to look for a few compositions, and I'll show you what I've got. Right, okay, well, it has changed a lot since obviously I came in. Obviously there's no mist or anything through in between the trees or anything like that, so you've got none of that separation that you would normally look for. So obviously the things that are behind the nest of trees that I took last time is totally different and not really doable in these sorts of conditions. But what is good is the boughs of the large tree here has just blanketed the whole thing in this shroud. It's absolutely beautiful, and you've got all the rocks and the moss. Obviously the light is a lot flatter now. Even outside there is some high level cloud going over, which has taken away the glare of the sun, which is nice. So I was tempted by some of these. You can see at the back where the sun is going down just up behind me. It's going to be going down behind that hill. Obviously it's still, what is it, 4 o'clock I suppose, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun's coming down and backlighting some of those leaves. Now there is a composition screaming there, but I couldn't find it. It was very busy, and although I like backlit leaves and things like that, it just wasn't at the moment. I just haven't really found a composition that would really show it off. But what I have got is this one here. I'll take you in underneath this tree, and hopefully you can see the composition on the back of the camera. Now if I talk you back through this, what we've got is we've got these very small obviously clover, I think that is, just coming across some of these boulders at the front, and they're very flat. But then you've also got this ridge of boulders running right the way around on the outside, and that's, in my mind, is leading your eye over to the tree. And if we come up, the tree is enveloping the whole of the area in such beautiful dappled green colours. So it might actually take an inverted shot and just take that all backlit, which might be the composition that I'm looking for. But what we've settled for at the moment is there's still a lot of brown leaves on the floor, which look absolutely stunning. And yes, with the shadow of the tree, it all looks pretty good. So what I've done is I've settled for an f-stop of f.9, and again the old focus stack is going to go play quite well here. I've chosen f.9 because I know with my 24mm lens that's really quite a good space or place to be for focusing, and obviously getting everything nice and sharp, which is what I'd like to do. We've got half a second on there for the shutter, and we've got an ISO of 64, which should give us a pleasing result. So I'll just take that, the 2-second timer, and that will complete the stack, and I'll put that up for you now. Okay, well I think this will be probably the last image from this area. What I've done is I've pointed the camera back up into the canopy again. But what I'm trying to do, you see all those lush green leaves look absolutely beautiful with the sun just lighting them from behind. So what I'm going to do is I've singled out these little leaves just on the end of this branch here, and because the aperture is open to 1.4, that's going to throw everything behind it out of focus. Obviously the focus plane is very, very minimal on that, so hopefully if I can get those leaves bang on that focus plane, I think that should give us a nice sort of contrast between the two. I don't know, I'll have a look, but the more I look up, the more I see that I'd like to take a photo of. But I don't know, maybe this might not be the last one. We'll have a go, but I'll take this image. It's not going to be focus stacked or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it as is, as a one image. And I might take a couple of images just to close the aperture up a little bit, just to give me that extra plane of focus. Yeah, lots to think about, but hopefully if that comes up, I'll stick that up for you now. Okay, well here I am down in Teignmouth, and the sun's going down over the moors where we were this afternoon, just down over there. And now the beach is pretty busy behind me. It's quite a good place to come down of an evening, barbecues and what have you, but there's a lot of people down there and I'm not comfortable talking on the camera in front of people, so I found myself a little corner to talk to you, and I'm going to head back down that way because some of the compositions that I want with some of the boats and what have you, which I pulled up onto the beach, are down that way. So I want to sneak off down there now and set myself up, and the tide's coming in, and I'll put the image up for you now.